Second. Hey, welcome to Raw and Raw. And this is the first show for 2021. And I know that we all thought we were going to ring a bell and 2021 was going to be all rainbows and unicorns. And it hasn't quite panned out that way. Today, I've got with me Ronnie G from Bohemian Coaching. He's a fitness coach and a really awesome one at that. How are you going, Ronnie?
Very well, thanks, Kevin. Very well. Happy New Year, mate.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you too. Now, we were talking before we came on air, we're going to talk about people's relationship with food. And I know, because you've told me, that you haven't always had a very good relationship with food.
Totally agree. Totally true, even. Totally true.
So tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I was younger, for some guys that have seen me online before, I was overweight as a child and an early teen. And I didn't really understand food. I enjoyed eating a lot of the wrong foods, which actually led to me having a OCD in my sort of early 20s. And I would literally watch what I ate down to the gram, down to everything. And I had a far too regimental routine when it comes to food, which really messed up here if I went wrong.
Yeah, and really, when it comes to food, it should be really simple, shouldn't it?
It needs to be simple, yeah.
And if we walk up to a banquet table or the smorgasbord at the local RSL, we know the stuff that's good for us and the stuff that's bad for us.
Generally by looking at things, yeah, and especially now when obviously social media, news, everything like that, there's always something relating to healthy habits.
Absolutely. Now you've got a pretty good theory about this, and tell me a little bit more about what is your theory around food in general.
I just think, and over the years, I've come to terms with it a bit more myself, and I realise what I used to do wrong, and I think a lot of people do the same, and that they think far too much about food in general, where obviously they want to have a good view in what is good for you, what's bad for you, what they shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, people think far too much about if they're consuming enough of this or not enough of this, and it just needs to be kept as simple as it can.
That's it. Like, it's not about, hey, what's my protein to carbohydrate ratio and blah, 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 because, hey, I'm just throwing out words that I know. It's more about having a sensible approach to it, yeah?
Yeah, and understanding food groups is great. Knowing where you get your energy from is even better, because people can overeat without realizing it.
Yeah. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because we want to talk about mental health. And mental health, to me, comes down to three basic ingredients. It comes down to ultimately how you feel about yourself. And it's going to be about your gratitude, your exercise, and then your mindfulness. That's a great way of thinking about improving your mental health. Being grateful for what you got. But when we come to exercise and we start thinking about our body, it's easy to go over the top and try and impose a whole lot of rules that then you're not really committed to keeping.
I think people get hung up on how they look in general rather than how they feel. And that can't be helped because it's thrown in front of your face. If you open up Facebook, you open Instagram, you open up any platform, or even watching TV, the perfect body is portrayed in front of you. Now, everyone has a different view of that. And the same for me. Like, what my perfect body might be different to what you see a perfect body to be. So it shouldn't really be on image. It should be on how you're feeling in general.
Absolutely. And one of the great ways to feel good about yourself is to make sure that you're just consuming approximately what you're going to expend in energy.
Yeah. And again, that's a lot harder than some people think, because you might think you go to the gym and sweat out 600 calories. But is that true? Is that definite? Like, how do you know that? Like, people don't actually know how much they eat and how much they burn, which is why it comes down to the equations.
Yeah, and for me, that's over a longer time period. So if we were to give people one thing to think about when it comes to food, when it comes to what they're consuming, what would that be?
Again, like I said a minute ago, to not think too much about it, but to understand that they're going to, if they do not consume more than what they're burning, so to speak. So if you're going to the gym and you have a daily basis, your calorie deficit of 500 calories roughly, then you're obviously going to have more energy, feel better, look better, and it's all going to be combined together.
Absolutely. So Hey, Ronnie's the expert, so we should all be listening to him. So don't overthink it, but just monitor how you're feeling with the level of exercise that you're having and with the foods that you're consuming. And if you're feeling like you're going in the wrong direction, just cut down on some of the things or pick up your exercise. Try and balance it out.
I think, well, yeah, I don't like to use the word cut down because sometimes people can cut calories too much and they can actually neglect food groups, because that's a massive issue, and people like the word low carbs, and definitely not the way forward. Definitely not the way forward. It's just about balancing, like you said, how many calories you burn, how many calories you consume.
Yeah. So just make sure that you're consistently feeling like it. Look, Ronnie's got a whole lot more tips, both on his own website at Bohemian Coaching. He's also shares stuff into the group on a regular basis. So keep following that stuff. And Ronnie, we do want you to be sharing your stuff into the group on a regular basis, and make sure that we're getting a little bit more detail than we can put into our 5 minutes that we had today. But thanks very much for helping us this afternoon.
Yep, no worries. And like I say, you're going to be seeing more of me, and happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thanks for your time today, Ronnie.
All right, cheers, Kevin.